into warm herbs. Sorry, I'm gonna go back to cold real quick. So are you guys following? Okay. So another cold herb that's also a nutritive being healthy for you, full of vitamins and minerals. It goes into the herbs and it gives you the nutrients to be able to heal yourself. So nettle leaf. You ever heard of nettle leaf? Yeah. So nettle leaf, high in chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is like the miracle substance for your liver. You eat chlorophyll, your liver is gonna love you. If you have liver problems, you want to get more chlorophyll in your system, and that's what makes plants green. When you have collards, when you have mustard greens and stuff like that, chlorophyll is like the blood of those plants. That's what makes the plants green. That green substance is really good for your liver to help balance out the enzyme levels and also help balance out just the overall production in general. So another cooling herb is alfalfa. Yeah.
Is that like a purified form of like from the herb?
Sorry.
Is the chlorophyll like purified like liquid form of the herb?
It can be. So like some people in certain stores, like holistic stores, they have liquid chlorophyll, and it's been extracted from different plants.
Oh, so it's different plants.
Yeah. Usually when they have like chlorophyll in stores, it's been extracted from different plants or a specific plant. If you look on the ingredients label, they'll tell you where they got it from. But you can get chlorophyll from many different plants. Like I said, it's the green substance of plants. It's like plant blood. Really good for the liver. Really good just to have in your system overall. The nettle leaf is full of it. Nettle leaf and dandelion root, dandelion leaf, and dandelion blossom. The whole plant is really good. They're nutritives too, but they're cooling. I was gonna say this for later, but because I don't want to confuse too many people. But nutritives or cooling herbs have anti-infection properties, anti-inflammatory properties. So for a hot condition like inflammation and infections, you would use a cold herb, or you would use just cold herb in general to keep your body cool in hot situations like today. You would drink dandelion leaf or nettle leaf tea to keep your body cool. If you were to drink garlic or cinnamon tea or thyme tea, you would probably overheat in this way. You have to be aware of the energies of the herbs so you don't take the wrong one in the wrong environment. Just like how certain herbs are in certain seasons, you don't want to take, or they say eat foods in season. You got to make sure you're eating, because your body's in tune with it as well. So certain foods go in certain seasons, you eat these foods in that season, and your body acclimates to the whole cycle. Nowadays they got us, we eat whatever we want whenever. Not only that,
I'm trying to get the board up close.
Speaking of like terrible food combinations, this might change it a little bit. But I just wanted to know like the effects of like, if you can get like the synopsis, like the effects of like dairy products, like the cheeses, milk, like creamy stuff.
Like go over food combinations?
Yeah, so like what that does to the body, like over time, and like how would you?
So jumping into food combinations. I don't think anybody should eat dairy. Some people are way more tolerant, based off of blood type. Also based off of origin, where you come from, your ancestry. All of that plays a part in how you digest foods and what's good and what your body likes. So, I don't eat dairy. I try to have seed alternatives, nut alternatives like almond milk, cashew milk, stuff like that. Yeah, feel free to take a picture too. So, carbs, starches, like nuts and seeds, breads, pastas, stuff like that, those are considered carbs and starches. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, they digest in an alkaline environment because starches are just complex sugars. So glucose is like a quarter for sugar for the body. They build up into different chains that go into disaccharides and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides is just one chain. Polysaccharides, disaccharides are like many different chains of built up sugars. So the thing is, when you're eating carbs and starches and stuff like that, they're just different levels of built up sugar. So when your body eats it, that's what they say you want to eat those type of foods because they are low on the glycemic index. Glycemic index is basically just the amount of glucose like in the food that food has. So if you eat high glycemic foods, they process faster, they go into the gut faster, and it absorbs and they send sugar into the bloodstream faster, and it overworks your pancreas because your pancreas produces insulin for your body to absorb that sugar. So the thing is, if you eat high glycemic index foods or cakes, sugars, syrup, too much honey, donuts, stuff like that have instant sugar, it's going to be absorbed into your bloodstream that much faster, and your pancreas is going to have to kick, like it's going to have to speed up to get that insulin in your body, and it's going to overwork the pancreas. So therefore, that's how you get diabetes, by eating foods that are too high on the foods that are too high on the glycemic index, and basically cakes and pastries, straight sugars. Eating too much sugar is going to overwork your pancreas, and you get different conditions. So you want to eat carbs, starches, complex sugars, because they take the body a longer time to digest. So therefore, it breaks down at a slower rate. The sugar goes into your bloodstream at a slower rate. Therefore, your pancreas isn't overworked, and the insulin that is released into your system is being used. So you don't have too much, so you don't have too less, which are two separate conditions of diabetes. So also, you want to eat proteins by themselves, meats, fish, stuff like that. Those are proteins or macros. You want to eat those either by themselves or you want to eat them with vegetables. So I'm gonna go over what it is. You want to eat fruits by themselves because they digest the fastest. You want to eat carbs and starches with either vegetables or with among themselves because they digest in about 2 to 4 hours, maybe 5 hours. That window is the same amount of time, and they create the same environment in your body to digest properly and move along. Vegetables can be paired with anything. You can even pair vegetables with fruits because they have their own enzymes inside of them that help them digest at their own rate. So if you were to eat vegetables with meat, they will be able to digest and hang out for that 6, 7, 8 hours that it takes to digest that meat and not become fermented inside of your system. But if you eat bread or carbs with meat, then it sits inside and it ferments, becomes rancid because it's ready to move on to the next part of the digestive process, but it's stuck inside the stomach because it has to digest the meat before it moves into the system.
What are some examples of carbs?
What was that?
What are some examples of what are carbs?
So carbs are sugars.
Okay.
Carbs are a different type of sugar, but carbs would be considered like bread.
Okay.
Carbs would be considered different types of pastas, different types of nuts and seeds. Like carbs and starches are kind of the same, but not the same.
Okay.
Because the amount of complexity that is built up.
All right.
Like I said, that goes from monosaccharides to disaccharides and then polysaccharides.
Okay.
Monosaccharides are one chain. Disaccharides are 2 chains.
Okay.
Polysaccharides are multiple chains of saccharides.
Okay.
So those go more into starches and carbs. It's a spectrum.
Okay. Say no more.
So what you want to do is you want to eat fruits by themselves. You want to eat carbs and starches, stuff like pastas, nuts and seeds, potatoes, among each other or with vegetables. You want to eat meats by themselves or with vegetables. Fruits have the lowest amount or the smallest amount of digest time. That's why they're eaten by themselves. Carbs and starches and vegetables can be eaten with anything, but they have about 2 to 4 to 5 hours of digestion time. And meat and proteins, macros, have the highest amount of digestion time. Sometimes it takes 12 hours to digest. So you want to eat them by themselves or with vegetables. Clear? Awesome. And by combining foods properly, you'll notice that alone will make you feel better. Your mind will start to function better. Your gut will start to function better. You'll have better bowel movements because you're not conflicting environments in your gut. When you eat something that's alkaline, and then you eat something that's acidic, aka you eat carbs, some nuts and seeds and stuff like that, some beans, then you eat some meat, it's acidic and alkaline, and what those two environments do is cancel each other out. So your food's not getting digested. And then it moves into your gut, undigested, with the acid base, a low pH, very acidic, and it tears up your gut. So you have to see, they don't teach people this. And not only that, in a lot of the foods that they have out here nowadays in fast food restaurants that's so easy to get to, has the worst food combinations for you out there. People eating it like it's so good, So we have to reprogram how we think and start making our own meals, or going to places that actually know how to combine foods properly. Or when you go to these places, get things that combine. So with those, I'm sure this video will be up, so you'll definitely be able to go back into and see if you miss anything or you want to go back over it. And on top of that, if you go online and type in food combinations or food combination chart, you'll see everything you need to see. So,
What was that again?
food combinations chart, or just food combinations. If you type that into Google, you should be able to find what you're looking for.
Combination with the next. Combinations.
Yeah, combinations. Food combinations. What foods to eat with each other, what foods not to eat with each other. You master that, you basically master your digestion. And then that's when herbs come into play. Because herbs are for healing. You can't maintain a bad diet and then take herbs and then you're gonna be healed. You might feel better for a little while, and but after a while you're gonna notice like, dang, this isn't working anymore. So what you need to do is eat correct what you put in your body, get your body back on a system, and then take herbs to heal the damage. That's how you heal yourself. And that's what herbs are used for. Now, herbs are used as remedies. You gotta use them for a little amount of time. You gotta keep herbs in your system. So instead of going to like the doctor or going to the hospital and getting a pill that makes you feel good for a day or so, and then after that, you back even worse before then. Or you got to keep taking these man-made pills. Take some herbs. Take them for about 2 weeks to a month. It takes time. You got to put the time in, because you got to think about how long we've been eating wrong, how long we've been eating all this bad food, and now the conditions we're dealing with. But think about how long it took for us to deal with that. So if we were to reverse that, eat better, and take more herbs, drink more teas instead of soda, and the thing is, you can sweeten your tea, but you're getting them herbs, you're getting the nutrients that you need. So switch it around, stop eating the bad, poor combinations, get privy to that, switch it for good combinations, good food, start taking some herbs, drinking them and keeping them in your system for about 2 weeks to a month, or just make it a whole habit, and you'll start to notice that you start to get your body back online. And not only that, when you start to do that more, it will reverse what you've been doing to yourself unconsciously for all these years. But it's going to take time, because it took all these years for that to happen. But it might not need all that much time to heal, because the bodies are remarkable. They will heal themselves as long as they have what they need, and you're taking care of them. So, getting into warm herbs and hot herbs. Now, there's conditions called depression. There's conditions called deficiency, and that's when you don't have enough to perform. So, say if you have a liver problem, like liver deficiency, that would be your liver is underperforming because it doesn't have the amount of nutrients it needs or the amount of blood flowing through it to where it can function optimally. So what you want to use is hot or warming herbs. What hot and warming herbs do is stimulate the body back into function. So use it for cold conditions. Cold conditions would be like damp depression. Cold conditions would be like stalled bowels. Cold conditions would be weak pulse. Depression in itself, because also when your body's not aligned and when your body's like out of balance, you also deal with emotional symptoms. It's all aligned. So when your body's out of balance, your mind is out of balance, your emotions are out of balance. It's a whole domino effect. So when you keep your body in line, you work on your mind health. cayenne pepper is really, you ever heard that when somebody's starting to have hypertension, a heart attack, give them some cayenne pepper on their tongue and it'll quell it out? If somebody's about to have a heart attack, that is it's a known fact that if you put cayenne pepper on their tongue, it has a really good chance of stopping their heart or stopping it from going out of whack. So another hot herb is thyme, and another hot herb is clove. So, do you have any questions about the natures of the herbs, the hot and the cold?
You said a heart like heat, so that kind of go into like exercise, working out, and your heart kind of get active when you build it up.
When you work out and you get physical, your body heats up. So that's like that's using your own ability to get your body back alive. It's like jump starting yourself. So, but if you needed help, you would go to the hot herbs. Or it's like people that are kind of handicapped, can't really do physical activity like that. They'll go to the hot herbs. They'll put the foods in hot soup because it's hot. You know what I'm saying? It's literally about the energy. It's hot, so that would help stimulate those processes back. So, there's also something about directions of herbs. So, remember when I was talking about how our body reflects nature? So, same with the it's about density, to be honest. It's about density. With herbs, the heavier herbs sink. Some of them don't sink, they float. Other ones, they rise up. And so the thing is, with all four of these, and that's what I brought this for, because I can show you an example. If you guys want to come up here, some of you, if you want to see what I'm talking about. So, the four directions of herbs are floating, rising, descending, and sinking. So, like I said, it's closely related to the four seasons, the 5 flavors, but lighter herbs like flowers and leaves that float on top of water, they're good for ascending, and they're good for acute and surface diseases, like inflammation on your skin, or if you had a cut or something like that, or a small infection. You will want to use lighter herbs like leaves or flowers that sit on top because they're good for topical conditions. So, heavier herbs like barks, seeds, and root that sink to the bottom are good for more deeper and chronic diseases. So, say if you have gallstones, or if you have liver stagnation that's inside the body that you have to get to, you would want to use bark, seeds, and stems and roots like burdock root, dandelion root, you know what I'm saying? Because they're under the ground, they go deep, and they penetrate the conditions that you need to be, that are deeper. So this goes into the energetics as well, the 4 directions. And the reason I told y'all to come up is because, as you can see right here, some of them are floating, right? And as you can see, as I move it around, some of them float up. The ones that are floating up will be considered rising. They will be considered ascending. The ones that are chilling at the bottom, those are descending. They're chilling, they're heavy. There's ones that are also going down, and those will be considered sinking. And then there's ones that are just in stasis, right? That are just sitting there, and those will be considered floating. So understanding that the herbs, based on their density, and that their density is really reflected in their attributes like bark, seeds, roots, and then flowers and leaves. They're lighter, bark, seeds, roots are heavier. You want to use the heavier herbs for deeper internal conditions and chronic diseases you deal with. You want to use flowers and leaves for just surface conditions. And then on top